Hello there gang, DD Devere here with another Past Blast in which we should be playing a little bit of Knights of the Sky, a World War I sim of sorts. This was released back in 1990 for MS-DOS and then in 1991 for the Amiga and the Atari ST. And it was published and developed by Microprose. Microprose Software, who of course were very big in the sim market back then. So let's see what we get, shall we? Option-wise, you're pretty much limited to whatever DOSBox give you, because it is a DOSBox emulated game. So let's look at the content, shall we? World War I is your campaign. You can only play as the Allies, the Allied forces, the Entente as they were known, against the German forces, which are of course known as the Central Powers. Flight training. Now that's just basically a sort of free flight or a free combat. We'll look at that in more depth in a moment. Dogfight encounters just allows you to pick an ace to duel against. Now head to head, that was like a 1 versus 1 PvP via modem or direct link. But I didn't have a modem back in the day, so I never tried it. And you can pretty much sure it's done and dusted this far down the line. So let's dive in with some flight training, which is probably the better. The campaign itself is fairly decent, in all honesty, but this will be easier just to sort of, so you get to see some of the issues. So this is no enemies, just your typical free flights. You can get the feel of the aircraft. Unarmed enemies, they will still try and dogfight you, but they can't hurt you. And obviously, finally, the armed enemies. Let's have a difficulty level. Realistic flight and average enemy pilot. So I'll go with that one. Then you get your hangar. Select your aircraft. Now, just in all honesty, there's a fairly decent selection of aircraft that were available at the time, and you can play for either side here. It doesn't matter so much, it's just a free flight attack. If you can play German or British or French aircraft, whatever you fancy really. And as you can see there, things like the Fals and the Newport 27s. It does have some fairly intriguing aircraft, but I shall probably go for... I shall find my usual mount, which is the... there we are, the SE-5A, the Scout Experimental 5. And as you can see, it gives you a little bit of blub about the different aircrafts. So let's just accept the plane and hit the field. Just pick whichever base is fine for what difference it makes in free flight. So here we are, sat in the cockpit of our Scout Experimental. Not you'd really know. See, there's one of the first problems if I flick through the views. It's done by number keys. 1 is your cockpit, 2 is your rear view, 3 is your left, and 4 is over your right wing. And that's your lot. There's no look up or look down or any angles from the cockpit views. So you do have some exterior cameras which are on your F keys. F1 is like a cinematic view, which not that useful. F2 is a padlock, which will lock you to the nearest enemy. You can repeatedly scroll through them. Spacebar is your map. I didn't mean to press that, I hit that by accident. And F3 is a bomb view, so it just puts the camera up and above you, making bombing easier. So F2, F3 and your cockpit are probably going to be your most used views, in all honesty, because there is quite a delay lag when switching between them. So O to start our engines. Okay, I'm not quite sure why that happened. But let's talk about another issue with the game. Now, what's quite incredible and quite sloppy is that they've left the copyright protection in. It hasn't been removed. So when you first start the game, you don't have to go through the setup screen of picking your joystick and all that kind of thing. But then you have to have the manual open, which is in your downloads folder, if you get it from Steam or GOG. And you have to identify the correct squadron icons, otherwise you'll only get access to the flight training. You can't play any of the rest of the game, as it's a demo mode. It's absolutely shocking that has not been taken out. Talk about sloppy work. Right, so let's have another go. I'm not sure why that bounced me out of the... Oh, I've got a funny feeling I know I must have somehow hit the wrong key, maybe. I must have somehow Don't know how. Alright, we'll accept that. Yep. Doesn't seem to be limited to keyboard control. It's old school. You have J, K and M to switch between joystick, mouse or keyboard. Right, so don't know, I'm pretty sure I didn't hit J, but there we go. Yeah, you can control this with your mouse. So here we are back in our cockpit. Okay, I'm not sure why O is now bouncing me back to the... Alright, so it's bugged as well. No. Let's see if the campaign will work then. So you get this sort of choice to select. It's an odd system because most of these, as you'll see, are retired. Oh, and by the way, for anyone who's... I know it's very big at the moment because of all these modern games rewriting history with women in them and such like, but it's nothing new. Look at that, Captain Susan Redfoot. So there's this all-inclusivity. It's certainly not a modern thing. So right, that's the one we want. I didn't pick that name, it was just there. Alright, so let's have that difficulty level. Right, so accept the pilot. Okie dokie. Right, fly a mission. I'm flying the SPAD in this one. And it does, in fairness, give a... Right, a German convoy close to Haycourt must be attacked at once. Follow a path over Mali. Okie dokie. And in Villas. Obviously this is very stretched resolution. It's quite hard to read it sometimes. On the way to Hedencourt. Jolly good, yeah, we'll just go with the let's go there, blow it up. So one oddity is that all aircraft, regardless of whether they had... Oh. Right, now it starts. Regardless of whether they carried bombs or not, have 4 bombs, plus and minus to... is needed to... your throttle. So right, I'm going to get ready and hit J to take joystick control. And this is of course because of the Microsoft driver, very twitchy. It's not the game's fault, it is Microsoft. Oops, that was a bit silly, I overclimbed there. So it does have some realistic flight models, more realistic. Realistic, you know, you can't just point your nose up and climb like a rocket. You do need to keep in mind these old World War aircraft were very underpowered. And it also changes between the different aircraft. So an early war aircraft such as the Fokker Rheindecker or the Airco DH2 will of course be very slow and sluggish at climbing, whereas something like here, the SPAD 7, I'm going to assume those are enemies. Yeah, they are indeed. So let's go and try and fight them. You know, it will be quite a lot better at climbing, but you've still got to keep it within limits. So as you can see, graphically, it's it's nothing stellar. I mean, you might be wondering what's with this frame rate issue. This is not my recording software. This is actually in-game performance. It's very stuttery, very sort of slow and unresponsive. As I mentioned, just switching between the cockpit views, there's a very defined and very noticeable delay, which means sort of switching between your cockpit view and you want to quickly switch back to your cockpit to get a shot off on your enemy. You'll often miss the shot just because of that little pause. I don't want to go for a head-to-head, obviously. Right. So control-wise, you can use the keyboard or mouse because there's no rudder control in this game. It's literally your roll and your pitch. So basically nose up, nose down, or roll left and right. It's frustration of quickly switching between your keyboard and your mouse. So this is probably something you'd best want to play with something like Joy to Key or Xpadder, something along those lines, because someone's supposed to be shooting at me. Can we do something, please? Alright, so he's right behind me, that's why. I'm going to do a split S. Roll inverted. Or no, we're not, because let's just climb and try and do a quick climb over the top of them. As you can see here, the performance is terrible. Right, let's get back into the cockpit view. But yeah, it's definitely some sort of keyboard mapper would be highly advisable. Oh, come on. Right, now here's something I was wondering about. This was a problem with a lot of the old games. There was actually a patch that increased the damage potentials. Because there's a critical hit point where if one bullet hits it, and it gets hit quite often with his early game low hitbox. I've got a sneaking suspicion this is not even the patched version. There was a patch that was addressed that. I never had it. I had the old version, so you got shot down a hell of a lot. I think you had to actually send a disc off to Microprose, and they would give you the patch. This was because wasn't a lot of internet back then. It's not like today. With how fast both me and the enemies are dying, this must be unpatched. Continue game. This has got a smoke effect. Well, that's one way of coming down, I guess. And yeah, how quickly we've been dying here and how quickly the enemies have been dying. Jolly good show. Oh, deceased. We'll go back to the main menu. So let's try flight training again. Armed enemies, see if we can... Just one final point to cover, so we've seen the sloppy poor graphics performance. Next plane, next plane, next plane. I'm going to take a German... Ah, there we go, that's the one I want. The Fokker D8. The one as it was originally called, it's 9-decker, so it's a single monoplane. Let's accept that. Very late war plane. Let's accept the base. And now hopefully. Now you might have noticed something, so I just picked a single plane because of course most planes of World War I were biplanes, meaning 2 wings, or they were the occasional triplane, such as the Fokker DR1, which was of course made famous by Manfred von Richthofen, which was 3 wings. However, you will notice this monoplane that I have here appears to have 2 wings. There is only the one overlay. The only difference is if you have an aircraft which has 1 machine gun, you will have 1 machine gun here, and if it's got 2 machine guns, you get the 2 machine guns here. That's the only difference. There's no internal models difference. The external ones are. If I switch to there, you can see now we have no lower wings, which we shouldn't have with this aircraft. So, yeah, and it seems to be, yeah, okay, we're going to conclude our dealings here, gang. Not sure why it's resetting in free flight when I try to start the engine. It is, so there's not a lot to do about it other than reboot, which I'm really not in the mood for. So, unfortunately, I mean, that's part of the point of this blast from the Blast series, past blasts. You know, it's not only is the game easy to get hold of these days, it's easy to get running, but it also, unfortunately, has it stood the test of time, and in this case, it really hasn't. There's stuttery performance, the more limited content, the limited cockpit views, the fact you have to have one hand on your keyboard and your controller all the times unless you're going to use a keyboard mapper, and the fact, as we've seen, the damage model seems to be the old original damage model where you'll get blown away, and the fact that even the copyright protection hasn't been removed. This is absolute bare minimum effort from the developers in this one to get this out and about. Absolute sloppy work, really is. So, has not aged, unfortunately. It's more going down in flames than sort of a rising ace of the future. Especially when, at this moment in time, I think this is $3.99 if it's not on a sale or a bundle anywhere, that you can get Sierra's Red Baron, which is Red Baron 2 and the Red Baron 3D expansion, which is a much, much superior product of the World War I flight sims. Or, if you don't want to be absolute hardcore flight sim, just more flying game, there's of course Wings. There's the remastered edition and the Amiga emulated edition, both of which are more fun and easy to get into than this, in all honesty. So unfortunately, yeah, this one, not so much an ace, more of a turkey, sadly. These nostalgia goggles would have to be thicker than those pilot goggles for me to sort of... I mean, I won't lie, I've had some elements of fun with it. But I wouldn't, honestly, if you haven't played this game in the past, and you don't have the nostalgia goggles, I think you'll honestly find it's just a frustrating mess. So that would be, I think, where we'll leave this one. So anyway, gang, thanks for taking the time to watch the video, and I do hope you found it useful and entertaining in some way, even if most of it was me crashing. Well, that's often the way. I mean, that's been modern flight sims. I don't stay in the air that long, in all honesty. But yes, so don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to let me know you're all alive. And I shall see you all next time. Bye for now.